Welcome to Cool Breeze Podcast, where we keep it cool. I'm your host. What it do? So, welcome to Cool Breeze Podcast, where we keep it cool. I'm your host. What it do? And today we are back with another video, but we are here with a solo video with just myself. So make sure you guys follow me on Instagram at It's Breezy. It's .breezy with 3 Y's. That's It's .breezy with 3 Y's. It'll probably be somewhere right here, but I really just wanted to do this introduction video, really just to give you guys the basis of exactly what Cool Breeze Podcast is, the meaning behind it, why I started it, and just to dive into just a little bit. You only get a taste of what is yet to come on this podcast, and really just to see what you guys say and how your opinions are on the information that I give and my opinions that I give as well. But before we get into anything, cheers. Okay, so I started Cool Breeze Podcast really in honor of my father. He passed in mid-December of last year, and his nickname was Cool Breeze. And me and my dad, he loved to talk. We would talk all the time. He loved to talk. And so, he really spread a lot of knowledge with me and a lot of things. So I wanted to spread the knowledge that he gave to me and, spread it with all of you guys, while also incorporating some of my ideas as well, because I've always wanted to start a podcast. I just never knew a title, the topics, the concepts of everything. So, but now I do, and now I have the clear vision. And if you don't know, Cool Breeze Podcast is really about just talking about the HBCU life, creating generational wealth, breaking generational curses, creating entrepreneurship, and really the HBCU life and just young excellence with those in the with those of the people of color, all of us with people of color. So I just want us to know that there is a space where we are able to excel and talk about ways to excel and to help all of everybody else excel as well, because if one can eat, why can't we all eat? So that's really the reason why I started the podcast. So those are the key points of the podcast and everything that I really want this podcast to be about. My audience, I just want it to be a safe space for all of those. I don't know if I mentioned, but mental health as well, because mental health is really a strong aspect. And I know in the people of the Black and brown community, our mental health in our own community is not looked at as, as important as it should be, as it is in other races and stuff like that. So I want us to be able to talk about, the things that we see in society and the things that we feel like as a community and as a generation, we can use and do and grasp information to propel forward and to break these generational curses that has been tossed down from generations to generations and start generational wealth and do the things that the rich people are doing and make our own statement in this world, because like I said in the last video, I see myself in history books and I'm going to be in history books. So that's really the goal and the driving force of this podcast. The goals of Cool Breeze Podcast is really to be the number one podcast in the world. I have that written on my vision board and my prayer board, and it is going to be manifested and it is going to happen. I see this podcast going so far. I see myself, on the TVs, having a studio. I'm currently in my dining room, but I see myself in a studio with a team with millions and millions of followers and just subscribers and people that I can touch, because I feel like my reasoning as to be on this world is to help others. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but I want everybody else, if I know there's a way to do something and to excel and for excellence to occur, why gatekeep when I can just share all this information to like-minded people who, want the help and want all of this? And that dives into, who I am. I am Shanoa Breeze, hence Cool Breeze. And I'm a student at Winston-Salem State University. Go Rams. I am a mass communications major with a minor in public speaking. And I am probably one of the funniest people you'll ever meet, as I like to say. Because if you ask me, I'm hilarious. Like Kevin Hart, who? No, I'm playing. But I am hilarious in my own head. And I'm an only child too. So I feel like, as an only child, you really tell jokes in your head. So yeah. But I really don't want this video to be too long. I really just wanted to really just dive into some of the concepts and meanings behind this podcast, and really just give y'all like an introduction on what I have to talk about, and things that others have to talk about, as well as I bring other people on this podcast from different platforms and demographics and all of that. But for creating generational wealth as one of my concepts of this podcast, I want us to start investing at a very, very young age. And if you don't know where to start, the simplest option I would say is Robinhood. It's a green little icon. You can download it on your phone, and you can start with literally this isn't sponsored either, but you can start with literally $20 and just let it grow. And if you don't know anything, it'll pick stocks for you that are good, and it'll put your money in there. And with that, you can do parts of shares, or you could do whole shares. It's really up to you and how you want your situation to go. But start with that, and then start progressively. Every time you get paid, just put a little something in there and watch your stocks grow. And I always suggest to do long-term ones. Now, this isn't, I'm not telling anybody. This is simply my opinion and a suggestion. You don't have to do it or listen to me. But I would start investing. And another thing too, take your money out of the regular savings account. I'm going to say that one more time. Take your money out of your regular savings account. If you are getting, on your regular savings account, you're getting probably a 0.10 or 0.01 interest rate yearly. That's change. Why is you having your savings account sit there and it's not growing proficiently and at a faster rate and at a higher rate, when it's just sitting there really collecting dust? What I want you guys to do, this goes for everybody, put your money in a high yield savings account. That is HYSA. That's how it'll look sometimes. Google search high yield savings account. You can say near me, just in case if you're the type of person who wants a physical bank. They have American Express has one, Credit One has one, no, Capital One has one. And there's a few more, and you can check with your local banks and stuff like that. But I know for me personally, on my American Express now, because it just increased, it is now at a 3.9% interest yearly, rather than the 0.01 or 0.1 that I was receiving in my credit union account. Put your money in a high yield savings account, y'all. Make your money make you money. I can't break it down for you. It's so simple. And I would say, take all that money that's in your savings and put it in American Express. And then if you ask me, I feel like it's a better way for you to save more money, because you have access to it, but it's not as easy access as it is with it being on your checking and savings account. That's a quick little transfer. It takes about 3 seconds and it's done. But with this, you have a limit on how many times you get to withdraw money. And it takes like a day or two to process. So it really forces you to keep it in there. There's no fees with it. I know for American Express, there's not. But if you sitting here complaining about, your interest rates, or, you just feel like you're not, put your money in the right places to where your money, when it sits, it's making more money. That we got to do what the rich do. And another thing, in order to make money, you have to spend money. I'm going to say that again. In order to make money, you have to spend money. Now, a lot of people think, that everything is like a get rich quick scheme and a scam. And everybody thinks that ways to make money is a scam. And those who think that, ways to make money is a scam are people who, as I like to say, still confused about money. Scam equals still confused about money. So it's like really just open your horizon to things and take that faith, take that leap in everything that you want to do, because faith is the size of a mustard seed. And once you take your foot out on that faith, God is really going to do the rest. I'm not trying to get too spiritual, but God is going to do the rest. When putting your money in places where it will grow at a efficient rate for you is what's beneficial. Because, let's say you have $10,000 in a savings account that's growing at 3.9%. In about 5 years, I want to say you're going to be up about 3,000, maybe 4. I want to say between the range of 3,000 to 4,000, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody quote me on the math. I ain't took a math class in a little minute, so don't shoot the messenger. But I think around you'll grow about 3 to 5,000. I want to say somewhere in that range of money, and you had to do absolutely nothing but just put your money into it. That's what the rich are doing. They're just investing their money in proper ways that their money will grow. But those ways aren't really exposed to, our community and those of us at these young age. And it's something that we find out, later in life when we could have been doing this and, could have been up a couple more tens of thousands of dollars and stuff like that. But that's one thing that right now I have to share with you guys, as I have more people on this show, we'll get more in depth on, investments and proper banking and stuff like that. But I just wanted to give you guys, just a little bit, a snippet, because you got to come back, a snippet of, some of the stuff that I have to share with you guys and stuff like that. And then another thing I want to talk about as well is, some of the generational curses as well. I asked my Instagram, I asked them, what type of generational curses have they broke or curses that they're trying to break. And a lot of those that I saw was first generation graduates. Shout out to all the first gen graduates. Salute to you. Shout out to my mother, because she was a first gen graduate. Love you, Ma. And, just shout out to all of them, because that is a huge accomplishment. I know some of the generational curses that I want to break is, the stigma of, not talking about your emotions, bottling stuff in, and just putting stuff, as people say, taking it under the chin and just keep it pushing. I want, to be able to, vocalize your emotions and feel freely, without being judged or saying, that you're weak and stuff like that. And another one of the responses that I got from Instagram was, she wants to stop the generational curse of kicking your child out at the age of 18 because you feel like they're grown. Now, I sort of I gotta say an opinion on that, because I feel like, in the Black community, and, we are a family, but when it comes to, how do I say this properly? As a Black community, I feel like we put the standard on our children at a very young age to really be strong. And, once they say that they're grown, you treat them like they're grown and, forget that they're your child. Because I feel like, in the Black community, in the Black households, not me for experience, but I've seen it in other people's lives of, their parents kicking them to the curb as soon as they hit of age. As a Black community, it's like you need to get out, get a job, just be in the corporate ladder, in the corporate world, and then the corporate mindset. You need to go to college or you need to get a job. And it's like, you know, if we want to take a year off for school and, you know, really find ourselves, it's not really encouraged. It's not, you know, we don't have the backbone to really find ourselves. And I feel like that's another reason and aspect why some people of color also do be struggling with their mental health, because they just really don't have the support from their family, because, you know, they're looked at as lazy for, you know, just wanting to find themselves. And, you know, the Black community says that we use it as an excuse and all of that other stuff. But I feel like, you know, if a lot of more children and Black kids, people of color, kids of color were able to sit and take time to really perfect their craft, take time to learn who they are, there would be a lot more entrepreneurs in our community, because all the time that you're taking to go to a 9-to-5, work them 40 hours a week, you could take them 40 hours and put it into your craft and create something that is you, and create your brand, create, you know, everything that you want to do, and still have the same outcome, but even better, because you are your own boss. That's another thing I want to talk about too, is, you know, like with working all of these hours and doing all of these things, you're taking time away from yourself to perfect your craft and really, you know exactly what it is that you want to do in life, and, you know, create something beautiful that is from you and of you, and show it to the world in a way of light that, you know, you are happy within life, and you're still working, but it's not working because it's your hobby and you're getting paid to do something that you love, and maybe even a greater paycheck and outcome. Because they always say, my parents used to say, you don't want a job, you want a career, because a job is something that you hate and a career is something that you love. And it's like, you know, if you dread going to work every day, I always say quit. I'm gonna just be real. There's 1,000,001 ways that you can make money in this world. And in all honesty, the way that you care about your job does not care about you. There should be, if your job is draining you, if you find that your job is messing up your mental, you're angry every day, you have to go to work, quit. Put yourself first. There are other ways to make money. There are 1,000,001 ways out here to make money. You can DoorDash, you can go sell clothes, you can braid some hair, be an Uber driver, you can rent your car out, Airbnb, you can do whatever you want. 1,000,001 ways to make money. And then if you just take that time that you was devoting all this time and effort to your job, to your craft, the outcome would be ridiculous. You would be like, wow. Once you get yourself out of the corporate mindset and stop trying to climb the corporate ladder, you understand that there's more than life, and way more to life than a job that barely pays you anything for you to work like a slave. But hey, don't shoot the messenger. I just say my little piece and give my little advice on what I think. Because one thing about my generation, I don't claim myself with these little Tide Pod eating people. I don't claim myself with them. I'm an extended 90s baby. That's what I call myself, an extended 90s baby. But I feel like my generation, we understand that entrepreneurship is key, that we are not going to work like a slave for the bare minimum. And I'm not going to devote all of my time and efforts and hours to a job that I don't like. And if I don't like this job, we are going to quit. There's 1,000,001 ways to make money in this world. And you just have to find one that suits you best. And it's not, I promise you, if you're unhappy in that job, it's not that job. I promise you. It's okay to leave. Take the leap in faith. That's what I always say. Take the leap in faith and watch what God will do for your life. Hey, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just saying. Just watch. Just watch. And another concept, really, of the podcast is the HBCU culture. And my mentor, shout out to Celeste, She is the one who introduced me to HBCUs. Because growing up, I grew up in a predominantly white area, white town. Because I grew up in a town, a very very small town, not a city, town. Okay. And, I grew up and all I seen was UNC, Duke, and NC State. And in my head, because at that time I wanted to be a doctor, I was like, in order to be a doctor, I have to go to UNC, Duke, or NC State. And Celeste, she has this summer program. It's called Girls to Queens. She needs to get back on it. But Girls to Queens, it's a beautiful organization that brings young girls of color together and shows them that they can excel in life and that their city is not the limit and the sky is the limit. And it introduces you into so much more of your culture that you didn't know, and cultures that, not even culture, but atmospheres that as young people, we don't always see in certain communities. And, I'm forever grateful for her and giving me that experience. But she introduced me to the wonderful, the illustrious Winston-Salem State University. And it really, I just never seen so many black people. I said, a school full of nothing but people that look like me? Sign me up. Because just the aura of an HBCU is beautiful. And I mean any HBCU. Because one thing about it, two things for sure. An HBCU is a family. We don't care who you is. We could talk about our school. You better not say nothing about my school. Okay? And it's always going to be a family. It's going to be that family beef between schools. But when it's time for all of us to come together, we're going to come together as a unit. And with going to a HBCU, it's nothing but seeing young black excellence, just nothing but young black excellence. And it's beautiful. And then you get to see all of these different cultures and everybody from it. I mean, shades of brown, melanin, beautifulness. I mean, that black is beautiful on a HBCU campus. It's lovely. And then just to see all of the young black entrepreneurs as well, because I love to brag, because honestly and truthfully, I do not need to leave campus to do anything. I can get me a plate made, a tattoo. I can get my hair braided, a wig put on, my toes, nails, eyebrows, and lashes done. What? And I can get some clothes, some earrings, some bags, and some shades. And I don't even have to leave campus. And I'm going to say this, ain't nothing better than when it is campaign season on an HBCU campus. Don't nobody snap harder than an HBCU when it comes to graduation pictures, when it comes to campaign season, when it comes to fried chicken Wednesday and putting on them outfits just to be out as on Winston's campus, the breezeway. But some people, they got their yards, their fields, or whatever y'all want to call y'all's, but we got the breezeway and clock tower. So it's just like being around all of those other like-minded black people who are trying to excel and, do better in life. It's beautiful. And, that was another thing for me because, growing up in a predominantly white institution, I never really seen that many black people. And when I went to Winston, I did experience a slight culture shock, just based off of there's a lot of black people. But I loved it because it was beautiful. And another thing that my mentor Celeste told me too, she was like, it sticks in my head to this day. She said, you have your whole life to be a minority. Enjoy 4 years of just being the majority. And that has stuck with me. And it's like, I'm not going to say I never want to leave college, but I love the college atmosphere. I love, especially Winston, I love our basketball games. I love how we can come together and just perform a random gospel choir at a basketball game or start shouting at a step show or something. It's just beautiful how we as a whole and as just a community are able to excel in a way with our own space, with people, and just see people who look like us. And it's for us, made by us. So it's a place for us to feel comfortable and, us to excel. Now, I'm not going to always say there's nothing but pros at going to an HBCU, because there are cons as well. With America, they think that us people of color deserve less funding, but hey, that's a different topic for another day. But I feel like HBCUs could use a lot more funding in the right areas, because there's nothing less. You don't get less of an education from going to an HBCU. I feel like you get more of an education, because you're somebody who is teaching you cares about you. I had a professor, I didn't show up for class one day. He emailed me, was like, "Where are you at? And are you okay?" At them big schools, you're not going to get that. And that, to me, that was my favorite class. And that to me stood out. And it was like, okay, I care about your education and everything that I'm teaching you. And my statistics teacher, she made sure that you knew what you were learning and cared deeply and truthfully. So I just feel like, going to a HBCU is like no other. I love my SU with everything in me, because it's so hard to be a Ram, and that gets a meaning every week. I promise you. If you're a Ram, But yeah, I really don't want this video to be too long. I feel like I've talked a lot, but that's what I do. Mouth almighty. I like to talk a lot. Get it from my daddy. I don't know. Hence, we always talk. Full circle moment. Look at me. But anyways, yeah. So yeah, that is about it for everything that I have for right now. And I just want to let you guys know that the best is yet to come. I just by this time this video is posted, it's already been posted, but I just released the introduction of my brand, my clothing brand, Slim and Tall Clothing. I'll probably put it right here. You could follow me on Instagram. More information will be coming soon. Continue to subscribe at Cool Breeze Podcast. Follow us on Instagram and keep sharing and liking. And to the questions that I asked in this video, comment down below, some of the answers that you have. So I'm gonna ask them again. So what generational curses are you breaking? What are some ways that you are creating generational wealth? What is entrepreneurship to you? And if you are an entrepreneur, what is one of the hardest things about being an entrepreneur? Talk about how you feel like our mental health is viewed in the Black community or the people of color community. And also just tell me what if you went to an HBCU. Comment down below which HBCU you went to all my fellow Ramleys. Hey, but comment down below what HBCU you went to and one of the best things about your HBCU and the HBCU experience. I want to thank y'all for coming to Cool Breeze Podcast, where we keep it cool. Okay, I am your host, Shanoa, and I will see y'all next time on Cool Breeze Podcast, where we keep it cool. One.